idea is that we get this variable by itself on one side of the equation. So when I say sides of the equation, I mean sides of the equal sign. So that's what we're doing. We're separating the equation into two different expressions, and we're going to start moving things away from the variable. So step one is to distribute. So again, anytime you see parentheses, that means 4 times what is inside this parentheses. So 4 times 1x, because when there's no coefficient there, we put a 1. 4 times 1x is 4x. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. I know it's a minus, but when we're doing operations with it, we keep the sign with the number. Everything else is going to stay the same because I haven't dealt with it yet. Plus 6x equals 62. Okay, so the next step is to label my sides. So what I want to do here is I want to decide which one of these sides is going to be my letter side and which one's going to be my number side. Since I already have more variable terms over here, I'm going to make this my x side and this my number side. So the next step is to flip. I'll flip the letters to the letter side and the constants to the other side. So 4x, that has an x, that'll stay. Minus 8, this is a minus 8. So minus 8 will flip and become plus 8. And then plus 6x, again, that's a letter term that will stay. So that step's done. My next step is to combine my like terms. So here I have a 4x, positive 4x plus a 6x, that'll give me 10x equals, on this side I have 62 plus 8, and that'll give me 70. And then my final step is to flip that coefficient. So that coefficient is 10. Co means together. It's the number that's together with the variable. That is 10 times x. So that will flip and turn into divided by 10. And so x equals 70 divided by 10, which is 7. All right, and we're done with that one. And it doesn't matter which variable we're solving for. Does not matter. As long as it's one variable, it's going to be the same steps. So again, step one is to distribute. Now notice there's no number here, but there is a negative or a subtraction. So we kind of think of that as a -1 being distributed in here. So again, the 2y will stay the same. Anything I'm not dealing with yet will stay the same. So I distribute. -1 times 12 is going to give me -12. And then -1 times -y will give me a plus y. And now it looks pretty much like the other one. So if we distribute it, now we're going to label. So I'm going to keep my y's on this side again. Numbers on this side. So I have 2y, that'll stay, minus 12. That turns into plus 12. Right, and don't be afraid to really scribble that out so that way I know that it's gone from over here. And then the plus y will stay. So we labeled, we did our flipping, because now I have all letters on the left, all numbers on the right. All numbers without a variable on the right. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and combine those like terms. 2y plus 1y gives me 3y's. 15 plus 12 gives me 27. And boom, last step. Let's go ahead and flip that coefficient. So that times 3 becomes divided by 3. And so y equals 27 divided by 3, which is 9. All right, what do we have next? Okay, so similar problem, looks a little different because now we do have variables on both sides. But again, the steps are the same. Step one is to distribute. Notice there are no parentheses in here, so I don't have to distribute. I get to skip that step. Okay, so label my sides. Since there are more x's on the right, I'm going to make this my x side now, and this my number side. But it really doesn't matter, just as long as you stay consistent. So now this 3x, since I'm putting letters on the right, this positive 3x, this plus 3x will become minus 3x. Now notice that I'm putting it over here with the 5x because that's going to make it easier when I combine my like terms. This minus 2 is a number, so it'll stay. 5x is a letter, that'll stay over here. But this plus 12, this is not my number side, will become minus 12. Will become minus 12. And so, boom, we labeled, we flipped. Okay, so now we're on the combining like terms step. So now notice, remember, sign stays with the numbers. This is still a negative 2 minus 12, so that'll give me negative 14. 5x minus 3x will give me 2x. And so my like terms are combined. And last but not least, I'm going to go ahead and flip this coefficient. So flipping the coefficient is the 2. So that 2 will turn into divided by 2. And we can write division as a fraction, or we can write division using the division symbol. So on this side, I'm only left with x. And then negative 14 divided by 2 is negative 7. So x equals negative 7. Same thing as negative 7 equals x. Okay, so those are all of the basic types of problems. Let's see if we can do one of the really challenging types of problems where we're doing a little bit of everything. Okay, so again, this is probably one of the harder versions of solving equations that you'll get. So again, the first step, distribute. Okay, now here, there's nothing in front of here, so there's nothing to distribute, even though it's in parentheses. And then here, I am distributing this negative 2. So negative 2 times negative 3x is going to give me 6x. And negative 2 times positive 12 will give me negative 24. So that'll turn into minus 24. And again, everything else will stay the same. 5x minus 4 minus 1. And I went ahead and dropped those parentheses because there was nothing to distribute here. Okay, so boom. Labeling. I'm gonna put my letters on the left. Again, does not matter. And my numbers on the right. And I probably could have put the letters on the right since there are more x's over here, but that just means we'll end up with a negative coefficient. Okay, so labeled, boom, labeled. All right, so now we're to the flipping part. Okay, x will stay, that's an x. Minus 4, that doesn't have an x with it, so that will turn into plus 4. And again, I'm putting it over here with its like terms. That minus 1 will turn into plus 1. Okay, the 6x, that does not belong over here because this is now my number side. So that plus 6, positive 6x will become minus 6x. And let's see, and then minus 24 is going to stay because that's a number. Okay, did the flipping. Now let's combine all of our like terms here. So here I just have x minus 6x. That gives me negative 5x. Negative 24 plus 4 plus 1. So that's negative 24. That's negative 20. Negative 19. And then that's combining my like terms. And now we flip the coefficient. So this turns into divided by negative 5. And so x is going to equal, we can write this as 19 over 5. We can write this as 3.8. But it is solved for.